Well, welcome to our Grand National preview. Now, you've already watched the section, well, hopefully you have, of what's going to win. But what about some of the horses who are going to run well at a big price? And, of course, as ever in the race, there are plenty of those. Nicky Henderson's Shakalaka Boom Boom at 20-1 chance. Look at some of these class horses. Neptune Collins down there at 25-1. Calgary Bay comes in here in great form at 25-1. And you'll notice Mon Mome, who, of course, won the race at 100-1, is round about 50-1. Let's hear from his trainer.
He's been fantastic, yes. I mean, it's a huge ask, really, for a 12-year-old now. I know there have been 12-year-old winners of it in the past, but it's a different race now. But at the same time, on his second at Cheltenham back in December, that would put him in there with a chance if they get the rain up there that we've got here.
But, as you say, all sorts of conditions, all sorts of ingredients go into it. But here's a horse who's been classy enough, actually, to run a place in a Gold Cup.
That's right, yes. He was third in the Cheltenham Gold Cup a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, last year he had a ligament injury, so he was off. So he's come back this season, having had that time off. And the last twice he's run, he's not enjoyed the real deep ground. I think he's reckoned at his age he shouldn't be asked to do that. And Aidan was quite happy to leave him alone. But he ran a more encouraging race at the Cheltenham Festival. And at the end of the day, actually, when he won the National, his previous run, he'd actually pulled up in the Midlands National. So, we travel in hope.
He'll no doubt have his friends. It's interesting, not since 2001 have we had a soft ground Grand National. Boise, Mon Mome, he's one of those, I can't see him winning it, but I could see him running well.
What's in his favour is his course and distance form, which year after year does stand to horses. I think the handicap is giving him a terrific chance, and you're betting on him coming back to life at Aintree, which he's done before and run well. So I think he's a player at 50-1 compared to previous years. When you look at some of those horses, you say there'd be a lot of not very good horses in the sort of 25 out to 101 bracket because the race is so much more condensed in terms of quality. There are an awful lot of good horses at big prices. Really decent staying chasers at big prices, including horses who run well in the race. You mentioned Mon Mome there, the Midnight Club, who was a very short price for this last year, is 33-1. State of Play, who's hit the frame every year for the last 3 years, 50-1. So there are good horses with proven ability at big prices. So the idea that you must focus your attention on the top of the market, I'd forget about that. If you fancy something and it's a price, don't be put off.
And well, we're here to give punters, a look just outside the box, and we see year in year out, don't we? These horses, Fitzy, come back to the Grand Nationals, Boise saying, and it lightens up, the Pill Garlic, those sort of horses that keep coming back and finish third, fourth over the years. And Mon Mome, he comes under that category, obviously.
Good solid jumper, likes the track, and you can't emphasise the fact enough. You get one that likes it around here, they perform every year, don't they? Yeah,
come on, some of the other outsiders then.
Well, there's a couple really I think I like Giles Cross.
Right.
Very much in the press lately, Dennis O'Regan has said that he's going to ride Black Appalachia because he doesn't want to ruin this horse's chances by carrying overweight. Personally, on a selfish point of view as a jockey, I'd want to be riding him, regardless of the overweight, because I think this horse he's a proven soft ground performer. He's a proven horse that goes on, gets extreme distances. We're watching him here finishing second to Le Beau By at Chepstow in the Welsh National.
Why is no one mentioned Le Beau By, Fitzy?
Well, you mentioned Giles Cross. I think you're right about Giles Cross. I like Giles Cross. Giles Cross has
he finished behind him in here, I think.
Exactly, and on more recent form. But if it comes up very, very soft, and Le Beau By comes bang into it, because he must have soft ground. ATR viewers, before he won the Welsh National, trainer came on and said, all I need is for some of the big horses to come out and for it to rain for a week. And that's exactly what happened, and he got exactly his ground. He'd been thrown in by the handicap because he's been running on faster ground for a year. So he's a definite player. And again, you're looking at 40-1 at the time we're recording this about Le Beau By. If you think it's, have a look at the forecast. If you think it's going to be genuinely testing, Le Beau By, plugging on is a player.
It's fantastic actually just watching that again, because you watch it, Giles Cross is actually weakening, but Le Beau By was galloping on. Well, you know what I mean.
He's staying on, and that's what you'll need. You'll need to, because if it turns into a little bit of a grueling race, which it can do when it gets soft up there, you'll need something that's grinding it out, and he grinds it out better than most.
And interestingly, going back to stats and trends, Grand National form over the national fences, whether it's in the national or not, or failing that, well Welsh National, Irish National or Hennessy form, all good assets, and both those horses tick those boxes.
Blimey, synchronises home and hose. We talk about horses in form. What about trainers in form? According to Pete's the horse that you fancy, he's got to have a chance, hasn't he?
He does have to have a chance. You know, when you look at how he ran last time as well. We're watching him here at Kelso, and we get a chance to see Bala Briggs again.
Yeah.
They all got beaten, of course, when Master of the Hall, the Nicky Henderson trained horse. But, you know, this was a very good run. This horse is a winner around Haydock. And, you know, before they changed the fences at Haydock, it used to be that it was one of the great tracks for a trial, Haydock, because the fences had quite significant drops. Horses get round Haydock, they can get round the National. It's not so much that way anymore because of the changes, but it's still a good test. And I like this horse. Soft ground performer. You know, and I think at a bit of value, this fella deserves a second look.
Now, you two are the experts, but I fancy Shakalaka Boom Boom. The one thing I am worried about, Boyce, and I fancied him before, I never even dreamt we were going to get a soft ground Grand National. I'm worried about the ground for him. He doesn't want it too deep.
Yeah, and you have to take that seriously. It's no good not changing your mind when the circumstances change. And many people will be in exactly the same boat, Luke. I think all of us, when we look at Cheltenham, when we look at Aintree, we're looking for good ground horses because we assume year after year that these meetings will be run on good or good to soft at worst. I mean, in a way, it's a blessing, and I think it proves that God loves horse racing, that it has rained, because one thing we didn't want was a fast or hot Grand National after what happened last year. So I think it's a blessing, but it's got to be a worry. It's got to be a worry.
And Fitzy, the horse that's beating him here, Calgary Bay?
Yeah, again, another one, you know, who probably has to come into reckoning. The worry would be if it comes up very soft for him. He's fallen in the race, so that would be a little bit of a concern. But Shakalaka Boom Boom, I'm a big fan of his. I agree with you. He's been trained for the race, and we've all seen time and time again Nicky Henderson, how good he is. When you give him a target for a horse, there is nobody better at getting him ready for that. Look back to the early years when all he had was staying chasers. You know, he had the likes of Classified and Zongalero. He managed to get them placed in the race. The Tsarevich was placed a couple of times. So, you know, he knows what it takes to get one right.
So put the Trainers' Championship to bed as well.
Oh, yeah, wouldn't it? Of course, that's crucial. But anyway, look, we're looking at the bigger price horses for the Grand National. We were saying Monmouth. Wow, were you on 100 to 1?
That's an interesting one because, you know, 20 years ago, for a horse to win at 100 to 1, it would have probably been a stone out of the handicap or something like that. But, you know, Monmouth, it's easy with hindsight to say he probably shouldn't have been a 100 to 1 shot because, you know, he had, you know, form from other nationals, Welsh national runner-up, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah.
You know, so...
He was favourite for the Welsh National
exactly,
that year.
Exactly. So, you know, going back to the point earlier, Luke, that, you know, if you're a punter looking at this and you're thinking, oh, look, my horse is 50 to 1 or 66 to 1, that means it can't win. It doesn't. It doesn't. It just means it's a 40-runner handicap and something has to be a big price.
Well, you're right about one thing. There'll be plenty of punters looking at this and plenty of punters looking for those big price horses. And hopefully, lads, you're going to give them to me. Come on, one or two if you like.
I'll give you two. Le Boba, I think, is a player, if it comes up very, very soft and he's 40 to 1 plus, I think that's a nice bet. And the one that I like at a price, and I like him anyway, not just as an outsider, but as a potential winner of the race, is Rare Bob from Desi Hughes Yard in Ireland. He's got the right kind of profile. He's got bags of experience. He's a pretty solid jumper. Whether he really wants this trip, we'll find out, of course, on Saturday. But I think, again, a nice price. He's a classy horse, well handicapped by a trainer who knows what he's doing.
And Fitzy, a couple from you as well?
Yeah, according to Pete, Malcolm Jefferson's horse loves the soft, which it looks like we might get. You know, and then you look down to the others. Giles Cross, I think he's a player.